They don't tell their stories. Why I thought, no, I wouldn't tell them that. I wouldn't tell them this happened. I wouldn't tell them that happened. Let me get a story from a book, and go on about it and see what kind of, bare logic I can bear on it or something. It's so odd. Um, so, they have all these philosophies and everything, and none of them make sense, really. I believe in human experience. I'm a general empiricist. I think you have to be cognizant of the various kinds of experiences we have. And whatever you're ever going to know, it's all going to come from experience. You're not going to get it any way else. If you don't experience it, how will you ever know it? And really, I don't know. I like reading. I don't mind that at all. I've read some. I'm not a real big reader because, I'm not ashamed to say it. I think most books are worthless, and it takes a lot of time to read a bunch of books. And there've only been so many great ones. But I would not bet the farm on my ability to interpret a book, any book. I wouldn't do that. I mean, that's interpreting books, reading books. That's experience, sure, but that's not major experience. That's not any kind of experience that's going to pay the bills. Unless, you're just one of those persons that gets paid to criticize, books. In other words, you write books about criticizing books. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. Like philosophers that, create new philosophies based on books on philosophy. They create books, so, books about books. And, it just goes on and on. So, there is such a thing as, literary absurdity. There really is. Because everybody has to have a real life. You have to live things out. If you've got ideas in your mind, if they really are good ideas, why can't you test them? Why can't you experience things? And, the scientific method is empirical. That's something you can do. You can, do something according to a method. Things that you do according to a method are sciences. That's the basic idea, is that, what we understand nowadays as science, which means knowledge, is methodical knowledge. You come about it in some way. And, the idea is that, the final arbiter is, can you get a verification, in your experience of, what's your description of what's out there. You know, you it it's the basis of experience. It's observation, and of course, we have to participate in experience. So, anyway, I wish more people would say that they're empiricists instead of empiricists, whatever. Instead of saying that they're skeptics and realists and surrealists and all kinds of other things, logicians and all those things. It's just it's it's disappointing. As long as the ins and outs of different kinds of experiences, but for heaven's sake, there's only so much you can get from a book. And, you just can't just read a book, fall asleep, and then, when you wake up, you got the answer. That's not it. Maybe if you knew how to manipulate your dreams, you could solve some problem. And that's another experience. That's a wide body of experience that I think not many people take advantage of. There's a lot to be learned, by designing your own dreams, and you know, you know, spend some part of your life doing that. You don't have to. I don't think that there's anything that you have to, you know, always do or always keep up with. But I think people should experience more things. And certainly when it comes to the existence of God, for heaven's sake, Um, I just read this thing. I still have the browser thing open, and this is one of these things, that's it's a 98-cent gospel, and really there are a lot of standard Christian ideas in this thing. And it's 98 cents a web page. Here we got the whole thing. And what they're saying on this web page, you know, um, they're saying, let me see, I gotta find the title of the web page. But I love the idea that I can discover what reality is. Oh, right, it's Is There a God? This is the title of the web page on everystudent.com. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe they'll come to me and complain. But anyway, the reason why I got to this page is because it was a thread on the Sci-Fi Channel. Is there a God? And that was one of the longest threads that ever existed on Sci-Fi. So I was participating in that thread. I won't tell you who I was, but I was in that thread, and I think it went to like 2,000 posts before people gave it up. But anyway, a lot of things happened on that thread. Is there a God? And this it's not on every student. It's on sci-fi.com. If it's still there, because they keep redesigning that website. I don't know. Maybe there isn't a sci-fi.com anymore. But anyway, it went on and on. But there were so many people. When it wound down, there were only so many people that were devoted enough on the thread to keep on going with it. And we had, at a certain point, let's see, there was a young man on there. There was I believe, a Quaker seminary. No, no, he wasn't a Quaker. That was it. I don't know what his denomination was, but he reminded me of a Quaker because he started the thread, Is There a God? And he kept calling everybody friends. So, the only thing I could figure out was he was a Quaker. But he was a seminary student, which he revealed very late in the thread that he was a seminary student. And he asked the question, is there a God? Not because he he didn't believe in God, or I'm not sure he really ever got to the point in this thread of explaining any experience beyond, education and reading the Bible and stuff like that, that was God to him, right? So he didn't, have much evidence. But anyway, it went on. Well, I would go on about it. And I really should go on about that thread because basically it's a very positive thread if it still exists. And during that thread, all kinds of things happened. There was this wild scatological kid that struck the thread one time. And he insulted everybody. I believe he insulted the Christians. He insulted the atheists. He cursed. He swore. He did everything. He would blast everybody, write the most outrageous things. Just like he was flying in from hell. And he did that for a while. Then finally he gave up. And then, a couple of months later, he flew back in. And he said, well, I've changed, I'm not going to insult people anymore. So he went elsewhere, and he he came to himself and he realized, that, it wasn't his job in life to be, a monster.